So the question on every wrestling fan's mind right now is who will beat Roman Reigns for the undisputed WWE Championship. Reigns has held a title in some form or another since summer 2020 and has seen off every challenger who has tried to wrench the gold from his hands. Not only has Roman been champion for that long, but he's also not been beaten since December 2019. Well, unless you count some DQ losses to Xavier Woods and Seth Rollins, but WWE doesn't acknowledge those, so why the hell should we? Even before his run of dominance as the tribal chief, Roman Reigns was rarely beaten, but beaten he has been, my friends, and sometimes from very unbelievable sources. So let's take a look at them. As I'm Jules, this is WhatCulture.com, and these are 10 wrestlers you won't believe beat Roman Reigns. Number 10, The Big Show. On the 2nd of February 2015 episode of Raw, The Big Show became the first person to beat Roman Reigns in a one-on-one match. This was in the thick of Reigns' first push as a single star and the backlash that accompanied that. Roman was feuding with the Authority in the build-up to WrestleMania 31, which led to this match with their giant crony. Show was looking to get his revenge as the big dog had beaten him on the past week's episode of SmackDown, and he achieved his goal with a little help from Reigns' old buddy Seth Rollins, who interfered in the match on Show's behalf. The decision to give Roman's first singles defeat to The Big Show is a bit of a baffling one. I mean, surely a younger star like Rollins would have benefited more from this accolade, or maybe even somebody completely separate from the Authority storyline. That being said, Big Show also handed Reigns' great rival Brock Lesnar his first pinfall loss, so maybe WWE were going for some sort of weird symmetry, or perhaps were being massively generous to them, and this is all just a coincidence. Number 9, The Miz. Monday Night Raw heralded its 25th anniversary with a special episode on the 22nd of January called Raw 25 Years. I know, imaginative, right? A quarter of a century and WWE still can't think of a good name. The anniversary, which technically took place 11 days earlier on January the 11th, was celebrated with huge matches like Heath Slater and Rhino versus Titus Worldwide, Goldust versus Kurt Hawkins, and DX and The Click humiliating the Revival. Whew, how exciting. The highest profile match that took place on the show was Roman Reigns defending his Intercontinental Championship against The Miz. Reigns had beaten Miz for the belt 2 months earlier, so he'll surely overcome his challenger once again, right? Well, unfortunately, that was not the case. With the help of the Miztourage, formed of Curtis Axel and Bo Dallas, and an exposed turnbuckle, the A-lister pinned Reigns with a skull-crushing finale to win the title for the 8th time. Roman Reigns has beaten The Miz way more times than he's ever lost to him, but this defeat still has to sting, and it was on the big anniversary show and for a title. Still, it could have been worse. Reigns could have been the Revival that night. Number 8, Cesaro. At Backlash 2021, Cesaro challenged the head of the table for the Universal Championship in a great main event bout. The current Claudio Castagnoli was unsuccessful that night, but if we go back almost a decade, we'll find another tussle between the two in which the Swiss Superman came out on top. This bout took place on the 11th of November 2011 on an episode of Florida Championship Wrestling, or FCW for short. Now, FCW served as WWE's pre-NXT developmental brand and was where Roman cut his teeth. Now, this singles match came off the back of an 8-man tag in which Roman's team beat Cesaro's, but Antonio soon put things right when he beat the future Universal Champion in under 4 minutes. Talk about a contrast to their match 10 years later, right? And on a strange note, both of Roman's future Shield mates were also in action on this night, and they also both lost. Does this mean anything? No, but it's still trivia fun, I guess, so look forward to that in a future What Culture quiz. Number 7, Shane McMahon. Being the boss's son sure does come with some benefits, right? Because it turns out that the younger McMahon has actually beaten Roman a number of times over the years. Shane's team beat Roman's at Survivor Series 2016. Shane was once again on the winning side of a 4-on-3 handicap match on SmackDown, and he and Drew McIntyre won a tag team match against Reigns and Gary Garbett, a janitor who was actually Cedric Alexander in a mask. Just don't ask about it, just accept it and move on. But McMahon's highest profile victory over Roman came in Saudi Arabia at 2019's Super Showdown. On the same cursed night that Undertaker and Goldberg had their, let's just call it a match, McMahon got an assist from Drew whilst the referee was down and pinned Reigns in the middle of the ring. Whilst Shane can hold his own considering that he's not a trained wrestler, there's no way that he should have ever beaten Reigns, especially not in 2019. And the worst part of it all, Reigns never got his receipt. Sure, he and The Undertaker might have beaten McMahon and McIntyre at Extreme Rules the following month, but Shane and Roman, well, they never went one-on-one again, and that is mad. Number 6. Lance Archer. Those of you who only know the murder hawk monster Lance Archer through his work in AEW and New Japan are missing out on quite a big chunk of his career. The star actually made his wrestling debut in 2001 and has been in various promotions under various different names over the years. He wrestled for WWE under the slightly altered name of Vance Archer, appearing most on the ECW brand and making a cameo on the WrestleMania 26 card in a Battle Royale. The Big Texan also spent some time in FCW, which is where he crossed paths with Reigns. Vance Archer and Roman competed on the company's Halloween Spectacular in 2010, just 2 months after Roman's debut. On a card that also featured proto-versions of EC3, Trent Barretta and Bray Wyatt, Archer defeated Roman in what must have been a meaty affair. Unfortunately, this win did little for his WWE career, and he was released just a few weeks later. Things have worked out alright for Lance since then, but it's strange to think that somewhere out there there's an alternative timeline where the current undisputed Universal Champion has long red braids. Number 5. Brad Maddox. Now this is one of 2 entries on this list where we're being a bit cheeky, but when you see who the other one is, we promise you'll forgive us. Now Brad Maddox had a blink and you'll miss it career in WWE that peaked when he was the crooked official for CM Punk's WWE title defense against Ryback at Hell in the Cell 2012. He also spent time as a Raw general manager before being released in 2015. A part of WWE since 2008, Maddox also wrestled in FCW and came across Roman in a 4-on-4 elimination match. Reigns was teaming with the likes of Seth Rollins and Tyler Breeze, whilst Maddox was buddied up with the future Wyatt family members Eric Rowan and Luke Harper. Maddox and his team were the winners, although information about who eliminated who in this match has been lost to time. Although imagine if it was Maddox who just pinned Reigns. Hell, let's just pretend that he went on to tear apart and pin everyone, including the people on his own team. He's just a madman. This is highly unlikely, of course, but the fact that Brad Maddox can technically claim to have beaten Roman Reigns proves that anything is possible. Number 4. Damien Sandow. When you think of Roman Reigns' great rivals, you might think of names like Seth Rollins, Braun Strowman, and Brock Lesnar, but you'd be thinking for a while before you ever uttered the name Damien Sandow. However, these two have quite the storied history, as once again, we go back to FCW. The first 2 men met in an 8-man tag, where the intellectual savior of the masses was on the winning side. They then engaged in a tag team rivalry, which saw Roman team up with Donnie Marlowe, who is now New Japan's Tangaloa, to try and win Sandow and Titus O'Neil's FCW Tag Team Championships. Then came the singles matches, 4 in total, in which Sandow and Reigns both won 2 each. The future Money in the Bank holder won the first match in August 2011, but lost the pair's first televised match 1 week later. Unfortunately, their feud was never reignited on the main roster, as the 2 men took radically different paths. Roman went on to become one of the biggest stars the company has ever seen, while Sandow is best known as the guy who used to dress up like The Miz. Number 3. Adam Rose. Now, if you're looking for somebody with experience in defeating Roman Reigns for big championships, then look no further than the former leader of the Exotic Express. Adam Rose's character on the main roster was that of a carefree party lover who was followed everywhere by a conga line of weirdly dressed followers called the Rosebuds. This was a stark contrast to the character that he played in FCW. Known as Leo Kruger, Rose played a vicious South African mercenary who would stop at nothing to get what he wanted. The gimmick was a huge success, and Kruger ended up winning the FCW Florida Heavyweight Championship twice. He defended the belt against a variety of foes, including our old pal Roman. Kruger actually successfully held Reigns off twice, once in a house show by disqualification and the other in a 15-minute match on TV. By the time Leo Kruger made it to the main roster as Adam Rose, Roman was already an established star. The closest the two would ever get to meeting again was when Rose came out as an entrance before Reigns in the 2015 Rumble, but he'd been eliminated before the big dog even made it to the ring. Number 2. Shad Gaspard. The late and very great Shad Gaspard was a truly wonderful human being, and it turns out managed to do something that few other wrestlers can lay claim to. The Crime Time member was released from WWE for the final time in November 2010, but not before he spent some time in FCW and encountered, you guessed it, Roman, the month before. This was Roman's first ever appearance on FCW TV and only his 8th match for the promotion overall. Shad laid him out in just under 5 minutes and the two never wrestled again. Now, Crime Time are such a symbol of a different era that it's it's incredible that they were in the WWE at the same time as Roman Reigns, let alone that one of its members wrestled and beat him in a match. Whilst we can't say for sure what was going through Shad's head at the time, unless he was a secret soothsayer, there was no way that he could have foreseen what would have happened to the young man who he fought on his first ever TV match. Whilst this was their only meeting in FCW, these two will no doubt cross paths again one day when Roman joins Shad in the WWE Hall of Fame. At number 1, Byron Saxton. Here it is, our second slightly cheating entry and the most outrageous on the entire list. Now, plenty of wrestlers have beaten Roman if we count tag teams and multi-man matches: Dominic Mysterio, Epico Colon, Ryback, and plenty more. However, none are as ridiculous as current commentator and infuriating goofball Byron Saxton. Now, fans may not know that Saxton was ever a wrestler at all. He gained exposure on the 4th season of NXT back in its reality show days, but had been wrestling in FCW for a number of years before that. His one and only match involving Reigns was a 6-man tag team match on the 17th of March 2011 episode of FCW TV. Saxton was teaming with Leo Kruger and Calvin Reigns, whilst Roman's partners were Donnie Marlowe and another future commentator, Percy Watson, and Saxton and company would be victorious. Again, information on who pinned who in this match isn't readily available, but if now was ever the time to fantasy book, I mean, just imagine Saxton placing one foot on the chest of the tribal chief. 1, 2, 3. What a glorious image. Somebody please draw it, put it on a t-shirt, and immortalize it forever. And there we go, my friends. Those were 10 wrestlers you won't believe beat Roman Reigns. I hope that you enjoyed that, and please let me know what you thought about it down in the comment section below. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me over on Twitter at RetroJ, but the O is a 0. Or you can swing by Instagram where it's the same handle, and I'd love to see you over there. But before I go, my friends, I just want to end this video with a bit of positivity to jumpstart your day and give you all of the good stuff. And that is by reminding you that you are an absolute ledge, my friend, and you deserve love, happiness, and success. We all do as human beings, and do not let anything or anyone else tell you otherwise, alright? You are a massive ledge. Now go out there and smash it. As always, I've been Jules. You have been awesome. Never forget that, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.